Our next question, question number 3, is going to come from another one of our directors at the Bradford Board of Trade. This is Jackie Kozak, and she is from Scaraoke Entertainment, who is also providing us with our sound services tonight. Thank you very much, Jackie. Oh, there we go. Question number 3.
Thank you. This question comes from a grandparent who is concerned with the climate change. Climate change will still be a problem for generations to come. What does your party promise to do to tackle this problem?
Okay, well, he's Justin Trudeau leading fight to stop our climate change, called CO2 pollution. Carbon tax he will arrange. But in 2009, the frauds exposed in ClimateGate, where Michael Mann used trick to hide decline since '98. Won't show the quarter's data to his hockey stick graph clear, caught fudging numbers so the warmer times would disappear. Medieval warming period, 800 years ago, Greenland was green and Britain even able grapes to grow. His hockey stick omits 4 centuries of hotter climes, and hides even the recent Dust Bowl days of dirty 30s times. While with scientists who hid decline, hide their data too. Till Greenland's green again, we must consider what we knew. Still fooled by trick to hide decline. Still Justin leads the way. I tried to stop climate from changing on his resume.
Davidson from the Conservative Party, 1 minute.
Thank you. Let me be clear on this. I believe that climate is changing, and I believe in that we have a changing planet, and we have to take it very seriously. But one thing I can tell you, under Conservative government, we won't have a carbon tax. The Liberals have you believe that a massive tax on practically everything to fight climate change, and that is not the way forward. For our party, we're going to have a climate change program, and that you'll have plenty of time before the general election to evaluate. But we will not have a tax scheme that's going to put the cost of everything up in the economy. And you can see the premiers right now in Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, Ontario. Everyone is concerned about the cost of everything, whether it be heating oil, propane, natural gas that we all heat our house with. We have to take a balanced approach to climate change to make sure that it doesn't hurt in small business or people in your town.
Thank you. Sean Tanaka from the Liberal Party.
Thank you. So I'll jump right in because obviously we don't have time for rebuttal, but it's really rich to hear somebody that they're taking climate change seriously and asking you to wait for 6 months before they give you a policy. So what I will tell you is about the Liberals' position on this. I have children in this riding. I grew up in this riding. It's beautiful. I am not prepared to allow us to kick the can down the road and have it be the responsibility of our children and our grandchildren to deal with. And so we need to put a price on pollution. When pollution is free, there's simply more pollution. But we have to do it in a way where we allow Canadians to adjust to this new reality. So what we have done is put a price on pollution that puts more money back in the pockets of 8 out of 10 families. It also allows them to adjust to it by getting this rebate up front before anything gets put into place, so that we can make these changes. And in York Simcoe, because it's a rural riding, we're doing a 10% top up.
Thank you, Sean. Robert, you have 1 minute.
Climate change is real, but the problem is, how are we going to do it if we're all broke? The situation is this: we're being taxed so much now that the wages are not compensating for the taxes we're getting. The only solution is not to have multiple politicians trying to fix the environment or healthcare at the same time. We have to have accountability. We have to allocate who's going to look after what. Should Ontario be allowed to dictate to BC what their climate agenda should be? No, because we're bigger? No. We need to lead by example for Ontario. The People's Party under Maxime Bernier would simply say this: listen, Ontario government, do what you must to protect your climate. Do what you must to protect your healthcare system. But we're going to give the money back to the people so that you can hold the provinces accountable for the environment.
Thank you, Robert. Matthew Lund.
So I think all the parties up here would agree that in terms of climate change, the Green Party does have the strongest policies on green solutions, and there's nobody that would be able to do a better job in cleaning up the climate change. This is the defining issue of our generation. This is, we need a livable planet, not just one for the 1%. Ask yourself, what is the cost of doing nothing? We have the opportunity to produce huge amounts of clean energy, solar, wind, geothermal, hydro, instead of the very dirty energy of fossil fuels. The dirty thing is the cheaper thing to do, and while it might seem like a better deal in the short term, market failure happens when you can't externalize your cost. So, to Scott, who is sitting there saying that our climate change plan is coming, well, I believe that when I get to see Donald Trump's taxes as well. But if you need help drafting your legislation, I got a book for you, Global Warming for Dummies.
Jessa McLean from the NDP.
Okay, in all seriousness, I think it's clear that we're lacking some real leadership in this room and in our federal government. Believing in climate change isn't enough. Notice that the Conservative to my left and his leader Andrew Scheer have not acknowledged that climate change is human caused. So we still have no idea how they're going to adjust. And all this bickering back and forth about whether or not we can afford the carbon tax is simply a distraction from the reality that neither the Liberals or the Conservatives have a plan. Putting a price on carbon is just a small portion of what we know we need to do to adjust to climate change. And the NDP is the only party that has a clear plan. We will transition away from fossil fuels by diversifying our economy that's right now based on a very volatile resource that we know is ending. To pump billions of dollars into pipelines like Trudeau is doing is not how you transition away from fossil fuel. He's now committed us to further years of drawing this dirty oil out of the ground, and like the Conservatives, still haven't put forth a clear plan.
Thank you, Jessa. We're going to move on.